Alrighty, everybody. Welcome to the TeenLife Virtual Gap Programs information sessions. Thank you so much for joining us today. As we let our attendees roll in, I'm going to go through a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. As attendees, you can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. So feel free to ask questions whenever. You don't need to wait until the end. As attendees, your camera and microphone are both off, so the panelists can't see or hear you. That being said, the only way to get your questions asked and answered is using that Q&A feature. And a reminder that this presentation is being recorded and will be available in a couple days. So if you missed out on anything or you have a friend who missed it, they'll be able to catch up later on. So without any further ado, I'd like to turn it over to our presenters, starting first with Taylor, the Gap Advisor.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Marianne Taylor, and I am a gap year counselor based in Boulder, Colorado. I'm coming up on my 10th year this January, and I have been with the Gap Year Association for about 10 years as well. I know that you've had the chance to hear a number of other gap year advisors tonight, but I just wanted to distinguish myself a little bit from the others that spoke before tonight. I am a lifelong gapper. I took a gap year way, way back in the medieval ages in 1974. I chose to go to the University of Grenoble to learn French, and I will admit, ski, because I come from Colorado. And then after college, I joined the Peace Corps and served for 3 years in Senegal, West Africa, which is French speaking. So I actually use that language. Then throughout my adult life, I realized Spanish was much more practical. So I put myself in 2 Spanish language immersion programs in Cuenca, Ecuador, and Antigua, Guatemala. And then over the course of my later years, after I had 4 children, I have traveled and volunteered in Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, and then more recently as an adult in Nepal and Peru. So I can speak personally as a gapper. I also, prior to being a gap year advisor, I worked in the field of social work for about 30 years. And so I have experience working with families, women, and children, which is often useful when a third party or facilitator is needed to kind of break the tension between a child and their parent. I also am the parent of 4 gap year children. I had 2 daughters who chose to take a gap year after their college years. One worked as an intern for a lawyer in DC and then over in South Africa in Cape Town. My other daughter volunteered as a preschool assistant in Khayelitsha, a township outside of Cape Town, and then traveled on her own. My youngest son was quite young and needed to really mature. So he chose to work 3 different jobs in Moab, Utah, teaching snowboarding here in Colorado, and then working in a restaurant. And then my other son looked at all of them and said, I'm just going to go straight through, but he did do a study abroad program and then worked as a fellow after college. So I bring a parental perspective, which I think is really important when you put that child on a plane headed off to the wilderness for 60 days with no contact. Also, I was accredited in 2018 by the Gap Year Association, which means I've been through a rigorous evaluation process. I've also served on the board for the past 2 years. I'm just rotating off, and I've served on 4 different committees. I've also had the pleasure of speaking at a variety of USA Gap Year fairs. There are 40 around the USA, unfortunately not this year. And mostly I've been speaking in high school and colleges in the West. And then the best part of my program is being able to do site visits with various GAP programs around the world. So if you missed Tuesday night's overview with Ethan Knight, I'm just going to go quickly over some basics. What is a gap year? A gap year is an intentional period of time that can vary from 4 weeks up to 2 years, where a student really stretches themselves outside their comfort zones and develops some practical, personal, and professional skills. And it normally includes a time of reflection, and that can be journaling, it can be drawing, it can be sketching, but it is an important time where people can really take some time out to reflect. 90% of gappers go on to college, and there have been a recent study by Bob Claggett that showed that gappers tend to have a higher GPA throughout college and graduate in 4 years instead of the national average, which is 6. Why take a gap year? That is a really good question. It's fundamental to kind of establishing your goals for a gap year. The four most popular reasons are academic burnout, lack of focus or purpose. People don't know what they want to study in college, a need for hands-on learning, more experiential, and maybe an extra year to mature and grow. A gap year really allows a student kind of to develop intrapersonal skills such as self-confidence, resilience, flexibility, and perspective, as well as gaining some interpersonal skills that you gain in a team or group setting, such as initiative, leadership, empathy, team building. And it also is an opportunity for students to develop practical skills such as laundry or cooking or problem solving or budgeting and basic decision making. There are a huge number of benefits of a gap year, but due to time, I'm just going to run through a few of them. Recharging after burnout, redirecting your focus for college, dipping your toe in some career options, exploring and delving into perhaps a hobby or a special interest or a passion, reconnecting with exploration and travel, volunteering by giving back to a community over a longer period of time, longer than 3 months, and really feeling like you're making a difference. Enjoying independence away from obligation and commitments. God knows all the way through high school, kids are really overcommitted. Developing moral leadership, having a sense of decency, knowing what the difference is between right and wrong, and the ability to collaborate. Gaining empathy, also to learn a new language, and also to make lifelong friendships. So in terms of different types of GAP programs, there are structured to independent that range from 4 weeks to a full year. They can be domestic all the way to international in a variety of different settings, which you'll hear about later tonight: rural, urban, jungle, desert, mountains, ocean. And in terms of types, they range from volunteer and community service to wilderness adventure, language immersion, environmental conservation, travel, doing a post-grad year, and then miscellaneous. It was a terrific year to do political campaigning in the 2020 election, or learning an instrument, or getting involved in film or dance or fashion or cooking or climate change. So there's lots of different reasons. In terms of costs, they're a wide range, from paid room and board, where you earn a stipend like AmeriCorps or City Year, to paying only for your travel and earning your keep for room and board by volunteering, or week-to-week program fees like language programs or UK programs. 60 to 90-day programs that are a semester long generally run around 11 to 18,500, and then 7 to 9 month global programs with multi-global destinations run about 30 to 55,000.
Sorry, Mary, I do need to move on. Thank you for that information. But next, I would like to introduce Wonderbench. You're on mute, Joe. Sorry.
Okay, Matt, thanks so much. Thanks, Marion. All right. Hey, I think this is such a cool conference because you're hearing about a lot of beautiful adventure type of programs this week or today. And our program here at Wonderbench, even though we have a very cool photo, and even though I have my bike here and I like to get outside, our course is a virtual course, but it helps you figure out your plans for the future. And so I'm excited to share about it. My name is Joe Lynch. It's a new day of opportunity for each of you. And we are all about helping you in just 4 weeks really figure out what is it you might like to do in your work that you would love. And so let me jump into that. And, prior to COVID, it's interesting that many people, in fact, nearly 2/3 of people were not able to identify or choose a career that fit their interests. And so a lot of people spent a lot of money on college. And it's understandable, as US News and World Report says, a lot of people just don't know what they want to do. And so by the time they figure it out, they've spent a lot of money and sometimes have to go back and spend a bit more money on education, just like Marion said, maybe an extra couple of years, which has expense. There are steps that you can take that we're really skilled to help you take in just 4 weeks to steer down the right path. And so we wanted to share about that. And we have a 4-week course. Now, it is not an adventure course on your bike. It is virtual, but it is live, and it is not a matter of just clicking through things. It's not watching a video. It's a real live dialogue with other students and with experts who are going to help you, who actually really care about helping you. And so we have a group course that starts in January. We also have a personal course that you can take, and we work with custom groups. And so we'll explain that a bit further. So there's 3 steps in the course to discover and realize future potential. The first one is really discovering who you are at work. We have a couple of tools that in the first week of the 4 weeks, we introduce you to, and it's pretty amazing that we use tools that people in virtually every job have taken, and we're able to identify what are the areas that your passions, your skills, your interests might connect you to jobs, many of which you've maybe never even thought about. After that first step, we enter the second step, where we, working with you and even the ideas you brought to the course, we identify 10 plus career areas that we think could be worth exploring. And we actually build a website that's unique to you that has all this information. And then in the balance of the course, we work to help you find the work that you will really love. And there are a number of different ways we do that. We actually, as you go through this list of 10, we identify the top 3 or so, and we bring in guests who are working in those fields. We've had terrific guests. We had the head of the iPhone, the head of healthcare at Google. We've had therapists. We've had satellite engineers. Whatever it is that the students have at the top of their list, we invite those guests to join for 15-minute sessions during our hour-long meetings. And we also have some really cool tools that we engage with you so that you can kind of test out these different ideas, and we'll help you figure out the one that really is the right fit for you. And so that's the process. And at the end, you'll have all of this information. And let me share what people think about it. So recently, we ran the course during the fall, and Sandy, who's a guidance counselor at Fremont High School, I won't take the time, I don't think I have the time to read through all of this, but just to highlight some things, she commented on how it delivered confident career pathways, and the assessments were enlightening. It was all very intentional, it was personalized, had a significant impact. And she, as an educator, noted that even though, she's a professional, there's something unique about this, the authentic feedback, the remarkable speakers. We've also received nice feedback from students. This student on the left, she said she loved the guest speakers. It made her feel good. In fact, she wanted other people to feel as good as she felt coming out of this, really with a better sense of what she'd like to do, what she'd like to study in school. This student here, she admitted that she had been confused going into it, but the Career Launch course really helped her, and she thought it was cool, which made us feel good. So we have 3 different program options. As I mentioned, there's the group course starting January 26th. That's $299. It's just an hour or so each week in the course. We tailor the times to fit with the students' schedules. And then you spend a little bit of time, but not much, maybe an hour or so outside of class. We run it, like I said, we can run it personally one-on-one so that we can just partner with you directly and run a fully custom individualized program. And we have a very simple program. We don't recommend this one as much as either of these 2, but we can, kind of give you just a taste of it. It's also something that can be given as a gift. And we have some families doing that as well. And then, finally, in closing, you can register on our website. We are really committed to making this a good ride for you. We realize you don't get to skip through careers like you skip through Netflix, and we are going to give our full commitment to really helping you. So thanks so much. We'll look forward to engaging in the Q&A. Thanks, Matt.
Great, thank you so much. Quick note, because I forgot to mention it earlier, High Mountain Institute was supposed to present third. They're in some inclement weather, stuck in traffic, so we are gonna move right ahead, and next we will hear from the Blackbird Academy.
Hi, everybody. I'm I'm Karma DeCiani, and I am the director of the Blackbird Academy. We are located in Nashville, Tennessee, and we teach audio. That is all we teach. We teach studio engineering and live sound, both. This is in one of our studios here at the Academy. Like I said, we teach both live sound and studio engineering. They are both 6-month programs, so they're perfect for the person who wants to take a break between high school and college. It's a great investment in your career to come and work with us for 6 months. We are in a true 9-studio facility here in Nashville, and you will work with people who have been in the industry for years. All of our instructors have been in the industry for over 20 years, as well as myself. And then our live sound facility is in conjunction with Claire Global, which Claire is the largest live sound production company in the world. We are totally hands-on. Both the live sound and studio are hands-on. This is another one of our studios. This is Studio C. It is currently one of the premier Dolby Atmos studios in the world. There's only a handful of Dolby Atmos studios, and we are lucky enough to be one of them. And then one thing we do really believe in here at Blackbird is guest mentoring. We bring in engineers and producers from all over the world, and you get to work in the studios with them one-on-one. As you can see, we have Jay Weaver, who is one of the top engineers here in Nashville, Steve Marcantonio, and Dave Pensato. Dave's actually out of LA, and he's worked with Stevie Wonder, a whole lot of other people as well. So he's got a great career. And then of course, the owner of the Blackbird Academy is John McBride, and he is a recording and live engineer himself, and he works with the students during classes, and we bring him in and work with them. These are just some of the live sound venues that we work at. There's a couple of them that are ours, and then we work at others around town and throughout the region. And one of the things about Blackbird is we're known for our gear. We have the largest microphone collection in the world. Students get to use about 95% of that while they're here. So they get their hands on all the gear. And this is what makes us a little different than other schools out there. These are just some shots from our live sound facility. And then this is from our studio. We have students ranging anywhere from the ages of 17 to 62. We have 4 starts a year. We start classes in January, April, July, and October of every year. So we have classes going all the time. It is very full-time. Students are in class anywhere from 30 to 40 hours per week. And again, totally hands-on. They're in the studios and in the facilities daily. The cost is $23,100 for the entire program. That does include all books, lab fees, course and project materials. And we are usually filled up about 9 months in advance. So almost all my classes for 2021 are already full, but always feel free to go on our website, which is theblackbirdacademy.com, and you'll be able to check everything out there. Feel free to use the question and answers or give me a call, and I'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you as well. All right.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Let me pull up the schedule here. And next, I would like to introduce Carpe Diem Education.
Hi there. My name is Ann Kenning. I'm the Executive Director of Enrollment and Operations at Carpe Diem Education, and we're based in Portland, Oregon. Carpe Diem offers gap semester and year-long programs for students between the ages of 17 and 22, and we travel with students from the US as well as international students. We offer programs in 9 different locations around the world, and all of our programs are purely experiential or hands-on. We focus on community engagement, intercultural exchange, and personal growth and reflection. All of our groups are up to 12 students, and there's always 2 overseas educators or leaders with each program. In addition to our 3-month semester programs, we also offer the Latitudes Year. This program combines a group semester in the fall and a focused volunteer placement during the 2nd semester for a year-long experience. Due to COVID, we have adjusted our operations this year, and I think it's important to note that. We did run an in-person program this fall in the US borderlands, and we're planning to run programs this spring in Hawaii, Costa Rica, and again in the borderlands. We're feeling really optimistic about fall 2021, so that's mostly what I'll focus on this evening. Carpe Diem is accredited by the Gap Year Association, and we're also a certified B Corporation. So these are just a few of my favorite photos from recent programs. If you think you might want to spend your gap year learning to scuba dive in Fiji, participating in a yoga and meditation retreat in Rishikesh, India, living with a homestay family in Marrakesh, Morocco, studying Spanish in Guatemala, or maybe learning to cook in Chiang Mai, I would definitely encourage you to consider a program with Carpe Diem. Sometimes I think it's easier to talk about what our programs are not and then talk about what our programs are. So our programs are not meant to be easy. This is not a teen tour or a vacation or an opportunity to hang on the beach with your friends far away from your family. Carpe Diem programs are designed to challenge your comfort zone. They're rugged, meaning you're going to take public transportation, you're going to be living in basic accommodations, or eating local food. Our programs are focused on cultural immersion and going deeper beyond the surface, and they are structured group experiences. Our programs are also really fast-paced, and of course, I think they're super fun too. So you might be wondering, why Carpe Diem? There's so many gap year programs out there. Carpe Diem is deeply committed to access and equity in the gap year industry. We have 2 different need-based scholarships available, and we also accept 529 plans and FAFSA funds. Additionally, we're always happy to arrange zero interest payment plans. We also have a nonprofit partner organization that supports first-generation low-income students to travel abroad, and we donate over $160,000 a year to their work. All of our students have the opportunity to earn up to 18 college credits, and we're experts in the field. We've been running our programs for over 10 years, and we have one of the longest staff trainings in the gap year industry. All of our leaders are wilderness first responders, and we also have a medical doctor on call, as well as a mental health professional if any urgent consultation is needed. So you might be wondering, well, what am I going to get out of a gap year with Carpe Diem, or why would I do this program? And I always think it's best to hear that directly from fellow students. So I have a couple quotes here, and I'll read the second one for you. This student says, "I started my year hoping to get to know myself and my passions. My experiences delivered that and so much more than I could have ever anticipated. I have gained so much confidence, knowledge, drive, and resilience through this program, as well as an amazing network of eager, passionate humans who want to change the world like me." So if you ever want to speak with former students or former parents, please reach out to us. We're always happy to connect you. Our tuition ranges from $11,900 to $26,275. That higher end of the range is for the year-long program, so 2 semesters. Our program tuition includes all food, accommodations, program activities, and travel insurance. It does not include international airfare, visas, and any additional spending money you want to have. Again, I want to reiterate that if you feel like the finances are a concern, please reach out. We'll do everything possible to make a program like this possible for you. So we're currently accepting applications for our spring 2021 programs and our fall 2021 programs. Our fall 2021 programs tend to fill kind of late spring, early summer, but now is a great time to start making your plans and get your foot in the door to hold your space. We do accept applications on a rolling basis until our programs are full. If you think you want to learn more, please reach out to me directly. I have my contact information here on the screen. And I also encourage you to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where we post videos, student stories, and program updates. And that's all I have for you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. I'll pull up my screen here. I just want to give our attendees just another reminder that you guys can use the Q&A at any time to ask your questions. And back to our schedule, I'd like to next introduce the School of the New York Times.
Hi, everybody. Apologies for any technical difficulties. My name is Emily Mills. I'm an admissions advisor here at the School of the New York Times. And of course, tonight we'll be talking about our gap year program. So just so that you can get an idea of who we are as a school, our goal is to translate the values of the New York Times into educational programs for young people. Our mission is to help students understand the world. So our faculty members are leading writers and thinkers in their fields. They're New York Times journalists and other industry professionals. So you're really learning from the best with us. And so just a little bit more about our gap year itself. Currently, the program is online. So for spring 2021, which is starting February 1st, so coming up quite quickly, that's going to be an online program. It's designed to help you expand your worldview and explore your passions and plan your next steps in life. And I just want to apologize. I believe there's some sirens outside, so you get the full taste of New York City with this portion of the day. And so we are also planning our fall 2021 online program. Hopefully come spring 2022, we'll be ready to run everything live again in New York City. That's our goal. Visit our website if you have, if you'd like more information about those two, the fall and the spring. We'll be sharing information via links, so you can go ahead and sign up for updates as they come down the line. So just a little bit more about our approach. We kind of take 5 main pillars to our educational model. So that'll be community building, mentorship, service learning, personal development of skills and life skills, and section study. And we'll go into that a little bit on the next slide. At the end of the program, the goal is that students have more clarity about what they want to do in the next steps of their life. So whether or not that be go to college or perhaps pursue your career or an internship, you'll at least have a better idea of what you might really want to do and what you really might not want to do. And we'll go into that with the section study next. So again, we use sections of the newspaper to dive deeply into different topics that are important social and cultural topics in the world. And so you'll be led by an expert in the field, whether it be a New York Times writer or an industry professional. So each of those sections that we're covering are opinion, books, style, politics, New York, and sports. So there's a little bit of something for everybody. And it's a really great opportunity to say you've never studied politics before. You'll get to take a taste of that and then switch completely and study style. So it really gives you a taste of everything, and it may even help you eliminate things that you thought you might want to do, and now that's not so much after you've tried it for a week or so with our program. So these are a little bit more of the logistics, the admissions and financial aid portion. We take high school graduates between the ages of 18 and 21. There's some admissions requirements, there's an application, all of that is online. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. We can help you with anything that has to do with the application. Tuition is $7,500 for the 6-week program, and there's a 10% tuition discount if you do both sessions, so that'll be a full 12-week program. One thing I really want to emphasize is our Diverse Voices Scholarship Fund. So we are really committed to making our programs accessible for all students from all backgrounds. So if any of the financial portion is a hardship for you, please look into this. It's a really great opportunity. This is a full tuition scholarship, and it's aimed at providing more access and equity in our learning opportunities. We also, in addition to that, have financial aid, and which is a combination of merit and need. So definitely reach out to us if you have any questions about that. And just in terms of deadlines, we do have a deadline coming up on January 11th. That'll be for the spring 2021 program, and that starts again in February. Again, we'll have those dates for the later programs published soon, but if you want more information, I really encourage you to sign up for updates on our website. Again, my name is Emily Mills. Any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to speak with students or connect you with some of our alumni as well to hear from the student side of things. Thanks so much.
Great. Thank you. Let me share my screen. So like I mentioned earlier, High Mountain Institute, they were having some weather issues. We thought they were going to be able to get here. Maybe they'll still get here in the next 15 minutes and they can present a little bit. But for right now, what I would like to do is open up the floor to any questions from our attendees. So feel free to put those in the Q&A. We'll use this time now for our panelists to maybe answer them out loud if they go through, or I'll pose some questions as well on my side, just so we can use these 15 minutes up. However, if you're not interested in any questions, you kind of heard everything that you needed to hear. I want to thank you for joining us. There will be a quick survey when you close out. If you wouldn't mind answering that, it allows us to make improvements to our programs on our side of things. So we would appreciate that. Another reminder, is that all of our reps here will be getting your contact information. So if there are any questions that go unanswered, or you did want to hear from the High Mountain Institute, they will have your contact info and can reach out to you soon. So I am going to open up the Q&A quick and just see if there are any questions. Can I find it? Here we go. All right, yeah. So it looks like there's a couple in the chat right now. They're specific to each program. So if you guys want to answer those in there, feel free. I'm going to just pose a question and then kind of go down in order so all of our reps have the opportunity to answer. If you guys could just keep your responses to like 20, 30 seconds, that would be great. But I would say one question that I want to pose is, what do you find most enjoyable about either the GAP program that you specifically work for, or just the work that you do in general? What do you find the most enjoyable about it? Taylor, the GAP advisor, would you mind starting us off?
Yes, I think for sure it is seeing the change in the students pre-GAP and after GAP experience, the growth. Some people call it transformational. Just I see the self-confidence, the independence, their perspective. So for sure, for me, it's to see the change in the student.
Awesome. Love to hear that. Next, Wonderbench.
Thanks, Matt. You know, I think with respect to work, it's been my experience. I think it's many of our experience that, you know, someone believes in you and believes that you can do some kind of job. And when you're young and you haven't worked much, you can lack that confidence. You don't realize that that's kind of the way it works, that people believe that someone can do something before they've done it. And so we love helping people see that, hey, you could do this, and showing them things they could do and helping instill that confidence, having, you know, just been down the road a little bit further and realize other people made bets on us. And so we enjoy doing that with students.
The Blackbird Academy.
Yeah, what I enjoy most is, of course, helping the students realize the passion that they have for music, and just showing their creativity and what they can do in the world to make the world a better place. Everybody loves music, and, you know, just depending on what kind you're listening to can tell a person a whole lot about yourself that day and that minute. And we love showing that.
Great, thank you so much. Carpe Diem education.
Sure, I think I would echo what Marion shared. The confidence that students gain when they come back from these experiences is really powerful. I think students also develop resilience in a way that they maybe haven't had to build before. I also really love that our students learn new perspectives and see different ways of living, and are kind of forced to reckon with like their worldview, I guess you could say. And then students on our programs also have the opportunity to belong to a close, small knit community, tight knit community. And I think that's something that's really kind of that students are craving and is pretty rare right now, especially with COVID. So I think that's really important.
Great, thanks. And lastly, School of the New York Times.
Yeah, so I have the privilege to work with a lot of our alumni once they've left the program. So one of the things that I really love to hear from them is that they've found something that they either really love or really hated. And it's funny to say that, but whenever you can eliminate something from sort of your repertoire of where you want to go next, I think that's a really important part of being able to study different things throughout your time with us. So that's one of the things I really love. It helps students narrow down what they're most interested in and what they're maybe not interested in at all. It's a wonderful growth process.
Great, thanks. There was a question in the chat. It was from a student who's not a US citizen, just wondering if they're able to take advantage of some of these programs. Would you guys mind speaking to that, just if in case there are any other non-US citizens in here? Or how are you able to work with non-US citizens, or even if you have in the past, like is it possible that you know of? We can start again just from the top. So Taylor, the Gap advisor, any experience?
Yes, I can work with foreign students.
Okay.
The visa is the only issue that may arise in terms of where they want to go. But yes, I can work with foreign students.
Great. Joe from Wonderbench?
Yeah, we certainly can as well because it's virtual, it's easy to engage, and for students, no matter where they are, to join.
Great. The Blackbird Academy?
Most definitely. About 18% of our students are international, and we do help them with their M1 visas to get over here. So we do it all the time.
Awesome. Carpe Diem education?
Yeah, definitely. We typically have a couple of international students every semester, and again, the only challenge can be visas.
Okay, awesome. And school in New York Times?
Yeah, absolutely. Usually about 40% of our student body is international versus domestic. The one thing I will say is our program online is a synchronous program. So most students like to be in class while it's actually happening. So that could pose a little bit of a challenge if you're all the way across the world, but we've still made up for that in recorded sessions and things like that.
Great. Yeah, that was one question that I thought might be good to share with the group. So I'll pose another question just to kind of get a feel. What is like the size of the programs that you guys work with or that you run in terms of students? And then, yeah, in terms of students, like how big are they generally? Taylor, the Gap advisor, I don't know if you
That doesn't really apply to me.
Yeah.
I vary. I've actually doubled the number of clients this year with COVID.
Okay.
So many students have taken a leave of absence
Great.
from college.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wonderbench?
Yeah, we limit each class size to 8 to 12 students, but we can just stand up an additional section for, for each group that size.
Awesome. The Blackbird Academy?
Yeah, each one of our starts, which we have 4 starts a year, and we can start up to 45 students with both programs with each start. But when they are in the labs, in the studios, it's always a 5-to-1 ratio. So 5 students to 1 instructor.
Great. Carpe Diem education?
Yeah, we take up to 12 students per group, and then there's always 2 leaders on each program. During a typical semester, we have between 7 to 10 groups in the field at a time.
Great. And school in New York Times?
Yeah, our program is typically around 20 students per class.
Awesome. That's good to hear. I know another question that I got in the last session I sat in on was the age, either limitations of a program or programs that you work with that are common, whether it's if they're a minimum age or a maximum age, or just what like the most common age that you guys do work with. If you guys wouldn't mind speaking to that again, Taylor, the Gap advisor. I don't know if this is necessarily something that you can answer, but if you want to talk about the students that you generally work with, that could fill here.
Sure. 17-year-olds can be somewhat problematic. Sometimes GAP programs will not take them until they're 18. So that can be problematic. Most of the programs will take up through the age of 22, although some GAP programs are specifically for 17, 18, 19-year-olds for just that year between high school and college. I myself work with college students, high school graduates, post-college, adults between jobs, as well as those entering retirement. all those ages. So I work with every age.
Great. Wonderbench?
Yeah, so our career course is typically juniors in high school through pre-college. So I'd say, 17 to 20. Now, we also, another part of what we do is we help people get jobs. We work with employers. We do recruiting for internships. And so we work with students who are older as well, but that's usually with placements.
Awesome. That's a cool little feature. The Blackbird Academy?
Our students do have to be high school graduates before they can attend. We've had students ranging from 17 to 62. Our average is 19 to 24.
Nice. Carpe Diem education?
We take students between the ages of 17 and 22. If you're 17 and still in high school, that's also totally fine. There's no requirement that you've graduated.
Great. And school in New York Times?
We do have a high school graduation requirement, and we take ages from 18 to 21.
Okay, great. So I just want to put another reminder for our attendees that are still here. If you guys have any last minute questions or anything you just heard sparked an interest, feel free to put them in the chat. And if you're out of questions, you are welcome to head out. And I do want to remind you about that quick survey. If you wouldn't mind filling that out for us, we would appreciate that. I do want to highlight High Mountain Institute unfortunately wasn't able to join us today. They will get your contact information, so they will know that you were interested in hearing from them. Hopefully they're able to reach out. But I do apologize. They just had some weather and got stuck in some traffic, so I apologize for that. But let me think, does any of our advisors or representatives here have any common questions that they get that they want to, pose to themselves and the rest of the group? I'm kind of drawing a blank at the moment.
I just want to share that oftentimes gap year programs, if they are accredited through a college, enable the students to use their 529 college savings funds. And I think sometimes parents aren't aware of that, but it's a wonderful way to pay for a gap program.
Thank you for that. Sorry, I couldn't get myself unmuted. Anybody else have any common questions that they get and want to answer them just so people know?
Sure, I could jump in. One of the common questions, which by the name itself is, do I have to be interested in journalism to take your program? And the answer is no. We get students who are from STEM backgrounds, from humanities backgrounds, pretty much anything in between, and some who have no idea what they want to do. So it's still a great opportunity for everybody. And that's a very common question we receive.
And Matt, when we receive as well as, do I have to go to college? Do I need to be looking at jobs that require a college degree? And the answer is no. And in fact, a lot of people are exploring a lot of alternative options. So that's not a requirement. Really, whatever you might like to do, we're happy to help you explore that and even figure out what the right educational path might be.
Great, thank you. So we have about 2 minutes left. I'm just going to throw it back to our attendees. If you guys do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I see our numbers dwindling a little bit, but doesn't mean we can't get any last minute questions answered. I don't know if any other reps have any other common questions that they get, but if you have them, feel free to kind of blurt out some answers. I only prepped the two that I asked. So if you guys do head out, again, thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking the time. I hope you got some valuable information. I know I did. I definitely did. And again, if you don't mind filling out that survey, we would greatly appreciate it. I'll just scroll through the Q&A one more time to see if there are any general questions.
I think I goofed up there and said I was going to answer Sophia's question, but I'm happy to answer it out loud if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So on Carpe Diem programs, historically, we've had a no cell phone policy, and we've asked students to leave any Wi-Fi devices behind. We are kind of changing that policy starting with the fall semester. So we will allow students to bring their cell phones, but the first 3 to 4 weeks of the program will be technology free, just as a way for the group to kind of form and have an experience without that distraction from the beginning.
Great. That's awesome to hear. All right, so there's a couple seconds left. So what I'll just do is I will end the session early. Thank you to our attendees as well as our reps for taking the time. We really appreciate it. It was nice meeting you and hearing about all these wonderful programs. And I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their evening and have a happy holiday season.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, of course. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Sure.
Thank you.